What's up, my derps? It's your boy Gregless, and on today's episode of Cast Guidance, we're going to talk about how to create better backstories. All right, go ahead and add a D4 to your ability check, and let's get better at D&D together. Before we begin, don't forget, roll to hit that subscribe button and add an extra attack to the notification bell so you don't miss any awesome content. Not everybody is a creative writer, and sometimes the notion of creating a bazillion page backstory can be totally overwhelming. I'm here to give my top 5 tips on how to approach creating an easy and still valuable backstory. Tip 1. Past. We've probably all heard the notion that we are the sum of our past. This is the basis for getting started on your character's foundation, and if done right, really sets you up for some great backstory writing and easier role-playing later on in your game. When attempting to develop your character, begin right from day one. Where were you born? Who were you born from? What was your childhood like? Did you move around a lot? What did your parents do for a living? Do you even have parents? Begin thinking about and adding to your storied foundation by adding paint to the painting. The more you add, the more complex your character becomes, and that's a good way to start. The wider reaching and more detailed your past is, the stronger your foundation will be. Think of your character as a real person. Begin filling in the blanks to how they got to where they are now. Every person, just like every character, has experienced things in life that brought them to where they are in the present. Chronologically speaking, it's the next logical step in fleshing out your backstory. Let's move into the present with Tip 2. Tip 2. Present. So realistically, this is about the short-term past and then the current situation. The past bleeds over a bit into defining the present because they are both directly tied together. Before the session begins, you need to think about how you got to where you're starting at and why you're there. This really ties into your character's status, position, goals, and objectives. You want to be able to explain to the group the journey you took to reach the tavern you're all starting in, or how you ended up in the same jail as them. However your session begins, you should define the reason you're there with that group. And sometimes the DM will dictate this beforehand, and other times you need to define it yourself. Connect with your DM before the session, if they're open to it, without giving too much away, and start threading together your story with their world, and weave a seamless quilted tapestry that is about to become who your character is. The more you can tie together, the better fleshed out your backstory is going to feel. A great example of this is my character Griorn Smashstone, who's from the island of Navigawa, in case you didn't know. An island that was created as I requested it from the illustrious friendly DM Peter at D&DWME. Before we began our campaign, I pitched him the idea of being a gold dwarf from an island nation. I didn't define the name or the place, but simply the direction I'd like to start from. He said, "I got you," and immediately gave me some names, and we worked together to continue connecting different goals and ideas that I had for my character. From there, we brought it into the present time, where he had left his home island to seek out runic magic across Aslos, amongst other reasons. We developed the past in order to explain why he was where he was in the present storyline. Now that you've really started connecting the dots on your backstory to the overall world you're playing within, you're going to find that it opens up major role-playing opportunities. And every chance you have, remind people where you're from and why you're there. Navigawa. The foundation you built with your backstory can connect you in a more in-depth way with the game. All of this begins to set up and answer the big question. Why? Let's explore in Tip 3. Tip 3. Why? A good backstory answers the biggest question there is. Why? Why is your character interested in adventuring? Why are they going to join this group? Why did they get involved with the current quest line? Why? Begin asking your character these questions and answer them within your backstory. Define your character's main objective. As just stated, my character's main goal is to search out runic energy across the land that is calling to him. It's a mysterious and unused magic that very few people know anything about, and it's at the core of my character's reasoning for going anywhere on the map. That goal isn't my group's goal, but it gives a clear reason as to why my character would continue to follow the path they're on. Sure, they want to explore this unusual wild magic phenomenon of pink geodes that's taking over the land in people's minds, but Griorn wants to go different places with the security of a team to see if he can learn more about the ancient magic. Also, you don't have to limit the answer to these questions to one response. For example, Griorn also wants to travel the world and teach people about his culture. He's a bard, by the way, so he travels and spreads the stories of his people through song. Furthermore, he's also escaping something, so I've answered the why in several ways, which gives more flexibility to his reasoning and connection to the main plot. Which leads us to the what. Tip 4 will answer just that. Tip 4. What? So what do you want? What do you expect to get out of this group? What did you originally want and now currently what do you want? This is all about defining your character's goals and objectives and tying them into your reasoning for being here. It's a bit of the why, but also more clearly defines your character's desires. Maybe you left your town because you wanted to find fame or fortune, or maybe you wanted to destroy someone and are seeking revenge. What does your character want out of the group you're joining? And what do they want from the world? Think big picture here. In the illustrious words of Lucifer from the TV show, what do you truly desire? That's a terrible English accent. What do you truly desire? No, I quit. Answer that by thinking holistically about your past, present, and future. But now, let's think about something more tangible in Tip 5. Tip 5, definitions. By now, you've sorted out the core of your character's mindset and reasoning. A great backstory also includes actual physical descriptions of what your character looks like, adding in all the flavors of your armor, your hairstyles, your eye, your skin color, etc. Things like racial backgrounds and how that is affected by the world around you can really add depth to your backstory. Most D&D sessions start out with people describing their characters, and this is where the physical description comes into play. What awesome weapons are you wielding? What rare physical traits do you have? Does your body glow neon green when you cast spells? Because mine does. The more definition here, the better. But it doesn't end with just the physical stuff. You can also describe your character's mentality. Are they predisposed to being happy-go-lucky, or are they the emo rogue type? Take time to begin defining how your character generally interacts with the world around them, then explain why they behave that way. Now's your chance to begin defining mannerisms of your character. Are there specific idiosyncrasies that your character has that are unique to you alone? Maybe you have a compulsion to cluck like a chicken every time someone says cheers, or maybe you have an up and down relationship with smoking. Whatever it is, these ideas only serve to create a more complex and nuanced character. Does your character have any fears or phobias? Do they hate snakes like Indiana Jones? These mannerisms will give your character a unique flavor. Then quickly define the worldview. How do they typically interact with different races and situations? Do they have any enemies or allies? What's their take on the world around them? Begin describing all of that and make your character whole within the world that you are defining at your table. Whew, that was a lot there. If it would be helpful, I think I see an opportunity to expand the last tip into its own episode because there's a lot to define that will help flesh out your character. In the interim, let's quickly recap the top 5 tips on how to create better backstories. Past. Start from the beginning and lay the foundation. Present. Explain how you got to where you are. Why are you here? Why are you like the way you are? Why? What do you truly desire? Definition. Physical, mental, and mannerisms. Keep coming at me with your ideas on how to be better at the table. This is something we're going to grow together. Feel free to message me directly at Gregless Designs on all platforms, or leave a comment below and I'll do my best to respond. As always, don't forget, D&D isn't a game you win. Let's cast guidance on each of our tables to enhance each other's experiences. Thanks, Derps. See you next week with more from me, your boy Gregless. Hey Derps, thanks for watching. We're trying really hard to build this channel up, so if you could give us a subscribe, that would be really helpful and appreciated. This community matters to us, and we want to hear your voice. Let us know what you liked or didn't like, and let's chat in the comments. Also, don't forget to check me out playing D&D on the D&D show every other Sunday. The link should be somewhere over here, or here, or here. Thanks!